Let's get more on our top story and events in the Middle East. And a prominent Al Jazeera journalist, al-Sharif, has been killed in an Israeli strike in Gaza, along with colleagues. Let's get the latest from Yolande Nell, our Middle East correspondent in Jerusalem. Yolande, the Israeli military has said it targeted Anas al-Sharif, accusing him of being a terrorist. It's produced some evidence, it says, of this. How does that stand up? Is it possible to verify it?
I mean, it's not something that we can independently verify. There are these shots of spreadsheets that have Anas al-Sharif's name on, and the suggestion that's coming from the Israeli military is basically that he was on the Hamas payroll, at least at some point. They're accusing the 28-year-old of having posed as a journalist, having fired rockets at Israelis in the past, and having led what they call a terrorist cell. Al Jazeera says that these were fabricated documents, and the Israeli military is not offering any explanation for the killing of the other members of the Al Jazeera team. 5 killed altogether and 6 people killed in this strike, apparently from a missile fired by a drone. And they were just outside Shifa Hospital in Gaza City. Al Jazeera is accusing Israel of wanting to silence somebody with an important voice and silence coverage that is coming out of Gaza at this extremely important time. Of course, this is happening just as Israel is threatening to start its new military offensive in Gaza City and threatening to force 1 million people who are currently living there to make their way southwards, they say, so that they can go and take over the entirety of the city and make sure that it is free of Hamas.
And just on how Al Jazeera operates, because the BBC and other journalist organisations are not able to get into Gaza, how is Al Jazeera able to operate there?
I mean, Al Jazeera is using locally recruited journalists who are acting as, correspondents, cameramen, producers. They have teams throughout the Gaza Strip, and through the Arab world, their coverage has been extremely prominent during this war. They have managed to keep covering certain parts of the Gaza Strip when other journalists have not been able to reach there. And we've seen, just in the case of Anas al-Sharif, he covered extensively what's been going on in Gaza City, the starvation situation there in recent weeks. There are other points I remember earlier on. He came from Jabalia in the north of the Strip, and there were some periods where the only footage I really remember seeing was from him from Jabalia, when there was a very controversial Israeli military operation there as well.
Just briefly, Yolande, just tell us more about the latest lines coming from the UN Security Council as Israel faces ongoing criticism for widening the operation.
I mean, what I think will be key for Israel is the fact that, it still had the closest ally, the US, backing it at this Security Council meeting. It was an emergency meeting actually called by the UK, and a rare one to have at the weekend. And it was in response to Israel widening its military offensive in Gaza, the announcements that we've seen. The US, of course, wields veto power at the Security Council, so it can act as a powerful defender of Israel there. Afterwards, we're told that the Israeli Prime Minister called President Trump and thanked him for what he said this was the US's steadfast support.
Yolande Nell in Jerusalem, many thanks.